Hello, everyone, and warm welcome to today's session. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can, just kindly send a few emojis to the comment section to acknowledge that you can hear me. You can use your favorite emoji. So let's see some reactions in the comment. Okay, so I'll just be moving forward. My name is Onyobazi, and I'll be your moderator for what promises to be like a very insightful session today. So before we begin, I want to thank every single one of you for showing up today, basically, especially right because it's like a Friday evening, and I know basically, I mean, this is like Friday. So, but the fact is, you're here, and it tells me that everyone here is serious about leveling up in terms of their on-chain analytics skills, and thank you for that. So, for those joining us for the first time, of course, feel free to tell us where you're joining in from. Welcome to the family. Analytics Sages basically is a data upscaling organization and a flagship subsidiary of Sages Lab. So we are on a mission to democratize data skills and place talents with proof this year. And we train the next generation of data professionals through hands-on project-based learning in SQL for blockchain analytics, Python for data analytics, machine learning, and basically Web3 data careers. So our graduates have gone from getting recognized by top protocols to landing paid gigs and building impactful projects across Web3. So you might have seen, if you check our YouTube, one of our recent uploads is on Emmanuel's DeFi risk bot, Telegram bot video, and we posted it this week. That's exactly the kind of work our students build. And today's session is another example of like a practical real world insight that we bring basically to our community members. DAOs are like governing billions of dollars in assets, but here's the thing, most people have no single idea on how actually to analyze them. So, and for today, we have like an amazing speaker to take us on DAO analytics and governance research using on-chain data to drive ecosystem growth. By the end of the session, you will go home with very insightful insight around this topic. So to deliver this, we have Mr. Ali, and he will be taking us on the topic. Mr. Ali, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, awesome. So guys, do well to ensure that you are definitely engaging. Feel free to put your questions in the comments and we will attend to them during the Q&A. So, Mr. Ali, you have the floor, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the introduction and for having me. I guess I can do a quick round of introduction of myself. I'm Ali. I'm working at the data team at Entropy Advisors, which is the largest delegate at Arbitrum DAO. The company has the company was co-founded roughly 2 years ago by Sam and Matt, our two co-founders, where they were previously working at Blockworks. So Entropy Advisors' original mandate was to helping the Arbitrum DAO streamlining like the governance operations and like optimizing the processes and like the ongoing initiatives. But for the second year, we have been focusing on mostly treasury management, incentive program, and data analytics. So yeah, that's more or less about me. Happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Okay. I don't know if you can hear me. So, Mr. Ali, for someone basically who's like completely new to DAO governance, It's like someone like me now, for instance. Which dashboard would you recommend they start with, basically, as an on-chain analyst?
I can suggest some materials, and feel free to call me Ali, by the way. I would say, I mean, I'm just to point that out at the beginning, I'm more familiar with the Arbitrum DAO, not necessarily like the other DAOs that are relatively active within this space. So one thing I want to stress is that each DAO has its nuances that you have to be familiar with, and it's not like if you're analyzing one particular DAO, you can be like, okay, I can start working on the other DAOs or understand what's going on there. Each of them are unique, so you have to basically make yourself familiar with that particular ecosystem, protocol, or network, and then start to understand the whole governance process. Speaking of which, I can share my screen maybe and walk you through some of our dashboards that we covered, the Arbitrum DAO governance, and also how the whole governance procedure actually works in practice on Arbitrum. Give me a second. Okay, I guess you guys can see my screen, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. There are first of all, we have two main dashboards. One is like the Arbitrum Delegates, who dives into the delegates of the DAO, and the other is like the governance proposals, which I'm gonna explain what they are. But besides that, usually anyone's entrance to any DAO is from the forum. So, for example, you go to the Arbitrum forum.arbitrum.foundation, which is the official forum for the Arbitrum DAO, and you find every conversation that has been going on within the DAO since day one. As you can see, there are so many new topics that has been recently updated, and there are ongoing conversations. So this is the entrance to any DAO governance. It is the same for Uniswap, for Aave, and for other DAOs as well. So you have to find the forum, which you can probably find from any of their official websites or Twitter accounts. And here, basically, there are different categories depending on the nature of the protocol. So Arbitrum is a network, of course, so there are multiple subject areas, but yeah, there are proposals, ideas, different types of things, multiple initiatives, Security Council. These are all parts of the DAO. And yeah, this is where basically every conversation is happening, from idea to actually being implemented on the network. So the process for Arbitrum is that you usually basically share your proposal within the DAO. It has to go through some conversations between the delegates. So delegates, who are the people who actually vote on the proposals and basically participates in the governance. So you have to share your proposal here. It has to go through some conversations and discussion. As soon as it goes through that process, which is 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, there is an off-chain voting process, which acts as a temperature check, basically. So you submitted a proposal to the forum, you collected the feedback, you improved the proposal, and as soon as you see, okay, there is a wider agreement with the content of this proposal, And as long as it follows the instructions and like the rules of the DAO, you can submit an off-chain proposal to basically do a temperature check. So for example, the most recent proposal was submitted around like 2 weeks ago for the off-chain voting process. Everything off-chain is on a Snapshot. You can find everything on the Snapshot website. There are multiple other DAOs. If I go here, you can find Aave, you can find Gnosis, and many other DAOs. But in case of Arbitrum, which is the focus of this session, a proposal is being proposed here again with all the contents of the proposal, and it basically has some simple like voting options, which all of the delegates will vote on. As you can see, all of these data is available to track. It is an off-chain data. You can get some of it from the Snapshots API. But yeah, in general, the goal is to get the approval of the DAO before submitting the proposal for an on-chain voting process. So after this is like a proposal is approved, the proposer will submit it for an on-chain voting process, which happens on Tally. Again, Tally, if you go to Tally's home, there are many DAOs that are utilizing this infrastructure for their DAO. You can basically browse among them. But for the sake of today's session, I'm going to walk you through some of the Arbitrum DAOs. So as I just showed you, this DBP quorum proposal was submitted around 2 weeks ago for an off-chain snapshot voting. And as soon as it's passed, it is now submitted for an on-chain voting. And as you can see, this is like an active proposal. So right now, 25 million votes has been cast. And yeah, there will be like 2 weeks of voting since March 12 for the proposal for its outcome to be determined. Basically, therefore, all of the on-chain proposal, you only have like 3 options: voting for, voting against, or abstaining. There are, of course, lots of other nuances. What's quorum? What's the approval scenarios and like criteria? But yeah, this is like the general steps being involved in doing these, submitting a governance proposal for a DAO. So yeah, would be happy to take any questions if there is any.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that. So, around the delegates, are the delegates like basically the same across other protocols, or it differs from Arbitrum?
It depends. It could be and it could be not. I mean, it depends on the delegate. So how the delegation works on Arbitrum. So again, it happens on the Tally, as you can see if you go to the Arbitrum's homepage. So if you connect your wallet and if you own, so for Arbitrum, the ARB token is being used for governance purposes. So you have to hold some ARB tokens in order to be able to vote on a proposal. However, you can delegate your voting power to another address to vote on your behalf. So some of the delegates are active across like multiple DAOs. Some of the delegates, like us, like Entropy advisors, are exclusively working with Arbitrum DAO. So if you go, for example, to the delegates page, you can see there are like so many different delegates, where here you can actually like delegate your voting power to any of them. and then they will use like that voting power to vote on the on-chain proposals. So yeah, some of them could be active. For example, Blockworks, Gauntlet. These are like the top delegates who you might have seen on other DAOs. But at the same time, for example, Camelot is an Arbitrum native protocol. As I said, we are an Arbitrum exclusive delegate. So yeah, it's a mix of multiple players and multiple top delegates. We have this dashboard if you guys want to check under Entropy Advisors account. It's called Arbitrum DAO Delegates. We walk you through like all the relative metrics to any of these addresses. So for example, you can see like this summary table that gives you all the information you need for every delegate, their address, their name, how long have they been active, number of delegators. These are the addresses who delegated their voting power to this particular delegate. And yeah, their voting power, which is like the most important metric. The percentage of voting power which is you can think of it as a proxy of how centralized or decentralized a delegate is, or like how much power basically they have over the whole DAO. That's a better way to frame it. And their participation across the whole DAO governance, like how many proposals they have voted on, their voting rate, etc. and etc. Let me fix my sharing, so I guess I can share it with you guys here. Okay. So yeah, that's the gist of it. I mean, of course, there are so many details that I can walk you through, but I'm gonna leave it to you in case you have any particular question or any other topic that you want to share.
Okay, so we have a question in the comment section, and the person is asking, so do you mean proposals must be created off chain, that is like via snapshots, before coming on chain?
Yeah, yes, they are not related, but that's how Arbitrum DAO basically works. So all of these are being written. If you look into the Arbitrum DAO's documentation, all of this information is available there, and basically it walks you through how the DAO governance works. That's what I was referring to at the beginning, that each DAO has its own unique set of rules and instructions. So for Arbitrum, as I said, you have to submit your proposal to the forum first. It has to go through some discussions and conversations for at least 2 weeks. And then in case there are positive feedback and positive comments in agreement with the content of the proposal, you have to create the off-chain proposal for the temperature check on a snapshot. And then if it passes that voting process, basically, then you're able to submit it to the for on-chain voting. So yeah, it has to go through this process. So realistically, for a proposal to be fully approved from the day it's being submitted to the forum, since the day it's being approved on Tally, it will roughly take between 4 to 6 weeks at least. But usually proposals are going through a longer approval period or time frame, I would say.
Okay, thank you. So I don't know if you answered your question, to which The next question that we have is from Ninaya. I don't really understand the concept of this.
I mean, yeah, it takes time for people to comprehend. It would be better if you can be specific so that I can give you a specific answer. But yeah, the general idea is that, I mean, when it comes to a DAO, it's about proposals, it's about changes, it's about voting, it's about delegates. So these are different like elements of the DAO that you want to look into from the perspective of like analytics, regardless of what DAO you want to look into. So yeah, there are proposals, so you have to look into different types of proposals. There might be different criteria for their approval, and there are delegates or there are stakers, for example, who can vote on a particular proposal. And then when a proposal is approved, how it will impact the network or the protocol. So each of these layers require like rigorous attention, require some deep dive within that protocol. It's not like, it's not like you're analyzing like a dex or a lending and you will be like, okay, I understand how dexes work and I can expand my knowledge to another dex. For example, if you're analyzing Uniswap and you will be like, okay, I can analyze like other dexes. It's, you can get the idea and you can understand like the main metrics or KPIs that are important, but how each DAO is actually working is different from one DAO to the other.
All right, thank you, sir. So I don't know if you has been able to answer your question, Ninaya. So a few more questions. For someone who has no idea basically of what a DAO is, can you explain it in like very simple sentence outside it being about proposals and the rest?
Um, well, yeah, the DAO is, of course, the term stands for decentralized autonomous organization, which is one of the oldest concepts within this industry that's been created against like the centralization of the Web 2. So the goal is to have like a set of participants or stakeholders or players that decide the fate or the development or the growth of a protocol instead of one central entity determining the roadmap, for example, or the basically making decisions unilaterally. So in a DAO, the decentralized part is being attributed to the delegates. So there are multiple delegates that are being active, as I just showed you, in the decision making of the DAO and what's going on within the DAO for each protocol. It's the same for Arbitrum, for Aave. You might have probably seen the ongoing conversations about like the Aave protocol, Aave DAO, Aave Labs, different stakeholders. So yeah, that's the DAO. There are multiple players. That's the decentralized part. The autonomous part is mostly about the whole process I just described, from sharing the proposals within a forum, then doing the temperature check, and then submitting the on-chain voting. So within those on-chain proposals, there are smart contracts that as soon as the proposal is approved, it automatically gets executed by the network itself. So of course, it's about like the core updates of the network. For example, when it comes to changing the gas mechanism, when it comes to introducing a new framework to the network, or I don't know, a lot of smart contract related changes. That's like the targeting the core module of the network. At the same time, the Arbitrum DAO has a treasury that you can submit a proposal and request funds out of that treasury. Again, that's also an automated process. So you can put an address there, and as soon as the proposal is approved, that those funds are being transferred from the treasury, which is a smart contract, to the address that's being put in the content of the proposal. So that's the autonomous part. And of course, the organization basically covers everything. This is like an organization. There are like revenue, there are expenses, there are profits, and there are multiple stakeholders. So yeah, I guess that's a summary of what a DAO is.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir, for that. So we have a few questions from the comment section. From Tobichi again, we have, is votes quorum dynamic for every proposal on Arbitrum DAO, or is there a specific amount of quorum that must be achieved for a vote to pass?
Yeah, that's actually a key element in analyzing the DAOs. I can share my screen again. I won't be able to see like the ScreenYard screen, so please share the comments and questions with me. But yeah, I will walk you through on the quorums and like the different types of proposals and how you can calculate them basically. So within the Arbitrum DAO, you can look at the constitutions. If you guys check our dashboard, all of these links are available to you if you haven't like saved them. So there is the DAO constitution, which is like a documentation on the Arbitrum Foundation website that has all the details about like the DAO, about the governance, the processes, like different phases, all of them that I just walked you through. Every detail here is being mentioned, like the number of days, everything. But in a nutshell, Arbitrum DAO has two types of proposals. One is constitutional proposals, which targets the core smart contract of the network of the Arbitrum Onchain and like the Nitro stack, the Arbitrum tech stack as a whole, and like everything that comes to like modifying the smart contracts, like the governance, the gas fee mechanisms, time boost, anything that you want to add or modify or remove on a network level, on a smart contract level, is a constitutional proposal. On the other hand, there are non-constitutional proposals, which are those who wants to request some funds from the DAO's treasury. Of course, we have like another dashboard for the treasuries, which you can look into. The DAO treasury was made when the DAO was formed in 2023 with ARB tokens, but today it's a mixture of like Arbitrum as well as other assets that are being held within the DAO and the treasury. And of course, if you want to submit a request or a proposal to pull out some of these funds, that fits the non-constitutional proposals. So yeah, when you have two types of proposals, again, you will have like two quorums. So what quorum is the minimum number of votes you need to get in order for the proposal to be approved. So, I mean, this is like a general definition. There are, of course, some details when it comes to Arbitrum. So on Arbitrum, in order for a proposal to pass, there are two requirements. One is that the proposal hit the quorum, which is the summation of for and abstain votes. If you remember, I just showed you on Tally, there is this proposal going on currently. Let me share it with you. So there are three types of votes that delegates can cast. A vote for, which is in approval of the proposal, a vote against the proposal, or abstain, which is like I don't know, or I don't have any strong opinion. You can think of that. So the number of for and abstain proposals should be more than the quorum. So here the quorum is 218 million, and the summation of these two should be more than that. And at the same time, the number of for votes should be more than the number of against vote. So you need at least 50% plus one vote for the proposal for it to be passed. So when the voting ends, like in 2 weeks, that those criteria should be met for this proposal to pass. How you want to calculate that? Again, there are like some requirements. Currently, I mean, it gets a little bit complicated because on Arbitrum, everything is being calculated based on the ARB token and the votable tokens. So the ARB tokens has 10 billion supply, but some of it is being excluded from the governance. So the total supply of ARB minus the excluded ARB gives us the votable tokens. And when you have this value, currently 4.5% of that gives us the constitutional quorum, and 3% of that gives us the non-constitutional quorum. So here we have the values. As you can see, we have the total delegated voting power. We have the constitutional quorum, which, as I said, originally it was 5% of the votable tokens. Then it was changed to 4.5% and 3% for non-constitutional quorum. So when you want to calculate all of these, you have to be mindful of all these like historical changes that happened during like previous proposals. I can share it here with you. So we have like the list of proposals here. And as you can see, on like around like 7 months ago, 8 months ago, there was this proposal, which was a constitutional proposal, of course, that reduced the threshold for constitutional quorum. And interestingly, I mean, everything that I'm explaining to you guys will...
Mr. Ali, please, we can't see your screen.
You can see my screen?
No, sir.
Oh, I wish you have said it earlier. So let me... Can you see it now? Can you see the dashboard?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, yeah, there are like, I guess I just walk you through like some of the definitions. So all of them are available within the dashboard. You can find a list of proposals. And also the chart I was talking about was this chart. So you have the delegated voting power, you have the constitutional quorum, and you have the non-constitutional quorum. But the most important thing I wanted to stress on was that the current active proposal, which is in fact a new way of calculating the quorum. So everything I'm explaining to you won't be the case if this proposal passes. So for someone who wants to analyze a DAO, they need to be on top of all of the ongoing like proposals and like changes to the DAO. So a few months ago, I mean, historically, the DAO used 5% of the votable tokens as a threshold for constitutional quorum. But then somewhere around like 8 months ago, it changed to be 4.5%. And then if the current active proposal get approved, it will change again. So these are the things you have to be aware of when it comes to analyzing like the DAOs. Because yeah, all of these proposals, as you can see, they have a quorum, and how this value is being calculated directly depends on the existing mechanism on the whole DAO. Um, so yeah, I hope I answered your question about the quorums. How you need to calculate these? There are a set of like smart contracts. The best way is to check tally and check the proposal creation, um, and then query those smart contracts on Dune or any other platform that you're using, and basically find the events, basically find the uh, relative set of smart contracts for the DAO, and also reading the amendment, the amended constitution of the DAO to understand all of these like mechanisms, as I just shared with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. So I don't know if he was able to answer your question to the person who asked it. Then we have another question. So the question is, after voting is passed, how does it get implemented? Is it automatic after a vote is passed?
Yes. Yeah, I guess I
Like,
answered this previously as well when I was talking about the autonomous part of the DAO. So yeah, all of these proposals, if you check the tally, they have like a bundle, or they have a smart contract package that's getting executed automatically. So there is no human intervention, I would say. So as soon as this proposal being passed over like its voting period, which is by hitting the quorum and of course having more for votes in comparison to the against votes, it's being automatically implemented. Um,
okay. Thank you so much, sir. So I don't know if there are any other questions from the comment section. Okay.
Sounds good.
So in terms of mindset, basically, as someone who is beginning, like a beginner in data analytics, basically, why should someone care about dio space, and like what are the opportunities out there for persons who would want to really specialize in that niche, basically?
I guess it depends on the personal goals and what area you're active on. So, in our case, of course, we are one of the delegates on Arbitrum, and of course, we are an active participants. We are involved in different initiatives. So, it's part of our mandate as well to make the DAO more transparent, easier to follow for everyone. So, I mean, if you check all of our dashboards, everything is basically public, everything is transparent. We tried as much as we can to surface some of the insights that are not available anywhere else. When it comes to delegates, when it comes to proposals like participation, so on and so forth. So for us, we are a business, so we have an agenda. We did that, but for someone else or for an individual, I'm not in a position to answer that question. It goes back to that person's like goals and what they are looking for.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for that. So, like, when you started studying Dio and started working with the data, particularly, what's something that really stood out for you as a person?
You mean data wise in terms of like metrics or analytics or?
The Dio and Arbitrum, basically.
um I'm not sure if I understood your question like perfectly. But when it comes to analytics, of course there are like some interesting findings that you understand when you go through like all of these data. You can look into participation, you can look into how the delegations have changed over time, how the quorum has been changing. So all of um, these types of proposals, so this is, as you can see, this shows like the participation. We have a lot of like metrics that directly look into participation, and specifically how active the DAO is, uh, how was the retention, for example, how much money the DAO has spent so far, what initiatives or what proposals received those funds across the entire history of the DAO. So yeah, these are the types of like insights you can capture. That of course it's a niche. It's not something I would say um, that everyone might be interested in. But yeah, these are like the metrics that are important when it comes to the DAO analytics, that you have to basically look into when you want to compare a DAO with another DAO, or when you want to understand one particular DAO on its own, because these are like these, for example, these funds are being allocated from the treasury. So when it comes to the financials of the DAO, the treasury, how the money is being spent, how the capital is being spent, like different initiatives, whether they have been successful or not, or how was the outcome, whether they meet the expectation or not, that's when it becomes more important to have like numbers at hand, and then look into like the reports and whatnot.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Ali. That was like very, very insightful. So I don't think there are any more questions because like there's no other question in the comment section. So I believe that um we can call it a close. But of course, a few announcements before we go. First of all, thank you so much again, Mr. Ali, and to everybody who asked questions, to everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much. Do well to follow Mr. Ali on his socials. Let me share my screen. So do well to follow Mr. Ali on his socials. Okay. So um, a few announcements. Tomorrow is the close of the Python cohort 2 registration. So for as many of you who have been following with our socials, you know that okay, we actually launched a countdown for our Python program. So currently we are running a 20% discount and instrumental payment where you can pay either through a two-way or a three-way plan, and the registration closes tomorrow basically. Then we have the upcoming Beyond the Query space. That publication will be put out by Monday. And of course, following along after Mr. Ali's live webinar, we have Mr. Moise, and he'll be taking us on how to write investor ready research reports using data and on-chain insights. That is going to be happening on the 7th of March, 7 p.m. UTC. And of course, we have the SQL Cohort 8 waitlist group, waitlist form rather. So you can as well check it out on our socials and join the waitlist for our next cohorts. Then we have a few organizations, Sages Lab, which is our primary organization. Then IntelliSages, which is our research arm. And of course, Analytic Sages, which is us. that are hosting this building core analytical skills for our community members and the rest of the audience. Then we have Fluxo Agents, which is a particular autonomous agent, AI agent, particularly for DeFi. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Ali. His session was very insightful and he particularly answered every single question with deep insights. Thank you so much, sir, and good night. Bye,
Thank you for having
everyone.
me. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.